what is the context of child rights and business in LACRO, and why did you decide to mark the 10th anniversary of the CRBP?
Yeah, thank you. Hello to everybody. First of all, I'm very happy to be joining you remotely, unfortunately, because I'm attending another activity, but very happy to be able to share what's happening in LAC and across the region. We decided to seize the opportunity of the 10 years because there is a very particular momentum. First of all, we have seen real progress in 4 thematic issues across the region. No, first one is overweight and obesity, or the work we are doing on child rights and business and nutrition. It has seen substantive progress in terms of regulation, in terms of improving the general environment. So we wanted to celebrate that and accelerate it. Family-friendly workplace and policies across the region also, good progresses in national regulations and also companies willing to promote this agenda. Online protection, same thing, good progress in terms of regulation, companies having to move the needle, and finally in terms of child labor, where the regulation is improving across the region as well. So what we've seen in the last 10 years is adoption of national regulations, in particular around priorities, maybe not the general national action plans and general regulation, but around these priorities, there has been substantive collaborations. Still, some progress also in the general or broader regulations, such as the national action plans in Colombia. They are already in the second version of their national action plan. Chile also designing the new one, so already have one and designing a new one. And Peru has a national action plan. And few countries like Argentina are now designing their future national action plan. In 2021, for example, to give you an idea of the work in UNICEF in LAC in that regards, 336 initiatives were developed in terms of changing business practices, benefiting more than 2 million children. Actually, this is more than 2 million. As you know, the way we measure is probably limited in that regards, because when we change the regulation, we benefit indirectly the whole children in the countries. No, so the impact is massive, and we're seeing very good progress. Why mark the 10th anniversary then? Because we wanted to achieve 3 main goals. First, make sure that the children are in the center of the corporate social responsibility and responsible business conduct across the region. Second, because we wanted to leverage the 10 years of the guiding principles, the 10 years of the child rights and business principles, but also the momentum created by the new regulations in terms of due diligence coming from different parts of the world, in particular Europe. And finally, because there's a need 10 years after promoting the child rights and business principles by ourselves to reinsert this agenda into the broader human rights and business agenda.
How did LACRO mark the 10th anniversary of the child rights and business principles?
Yeah, thank you. We had actually a very exciting years in terms of the 10 years of the child rights and business principles. No, we wanted to do the most of it. So most of our efforts were concentrated through the human rights and business regional workshop that happened in Bogota in July, and we could achieve several things there. No? First of all, a very strong presence of UNICEF and of child rights and business principles across the workshop. In terms of branding, so UNICEF was a co-sponsor of the events, so good presence there, but also in terms of content. No, we could had an influence across the workshop, and in particular, we organized a very strong session around the 10 years in terms of celebration, recognitions of progress, and drawing the way forward. We also co-organized the day before this workshop a dialogue with companies together with UN Global Compact regionally. So I had representatives from UNICEF, from Global Compact, and from the private sector to discuss what was going to happen for the last and for the next 10 years. We also organized a social event to gather all the relevant actors. We had almost 100% from the UN and work group on human and business and human rights, but also from all the partners, the chambers, the businesses, etc. So a very good moment kind of to reinforce the importance of children's rights. And finally, we also used the opportunity to bring our 26 colleagues working on this agenda across the region and give them a two days workshop to train them, update them, and remotivate them. We also launched a regional survey in 13 country offices, so more than half the country offices in the region, to which more than 300 companies answered. We presented it yesterday. We had 8 speakers from different backgrounds sharing their best practices, and had an assistance of 500 decision makers. So we are very happy about that. And finally, in country offices, also very strong activity. Several country offices use the opportunity to promote and reinforce. I'm not going to mention them all, but for example, in Dominican Republic, you'll hear about them today. Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Guatemala, Bolivia, and others.
What have been the outcomes from the activities so far, and what opportunities have they opened up for the office work?
Yeah, very interesting question. So how do we transform these activities into concrete results, right? I think we achieved this year, after 10 years of promoting the Charity and Business Principles, to reposition the agenda in the general human rights and business agenda, in particular through the regional workshop, as I said, but also in a good moment before the new regulation on due diligence are going to start impacting the region, the human rights and business actors and the companies. So it was an important momentum to remind everybody about the Charity and Business Principles before this is going to start unfolding concretely 10 years after launching it concretely in mandatory due diligence regulations across the world. It was also a very good way to reinforce partnerships, alliances we have with many different actors. The UN partners, Global Compact, Responsible Business Conduct, where there is the the Office of the High Commissioner on Human Rights, the OCDE, ILO, and also reinforce our partnership with the UN Work Group on Business and Human Rights. Good way to reinforce partnership with consultants, business consultants such as Deloitte, whom are going to be the one promoting and giving services to companies in terms of due diligence in the next year. So important to have them on board, and CSR media. Also raising awareness towards the business sectors in country offices at the regional level, promoting these tools and these surveys to a very broad audience, but also generate networking with them, and making sure that they understand their obligation to respect and promote children's rights, and concretely sector per sector, company per company, what they can really do. And finally, I think a very good outcome also, after these 2 years of business for a soul promotion, where colleagues had to have a broader view on business engagement, reinforce and remotivate and retrain them on the particular CRB/CRBP agenda, and that was quite interesting, and they are fully motivated now.
And the final question is, what are the LACRO plans to build on these activities in 2023 and beyond?
Yeah, thank you. Concrete plans, very short. So leverage the new regulations on due diligence, as I said, leverage the partnerships that we have reinforced. For example, UN Global Compact is launching a series of training, capacity building tools for businesses. So we are trying to have an incidence and include children's rights there. Same thing with responsible business conduct and the support to NAPs, how they can promote children's rights together with or instead of UNICEF. Consolidate the priority agendas, family-friendly policies, overweight and obesity and regulation, and violence against children through online protection and sexual exploitation in tourism, for example, and due diligence. But also open a few new agendas. We presented also 2 days ago the first regional study on gender and marketing, how this influences social norms and violence across the region, and the agenda of climate change, where we have to be very present. So a lot of ambition, very remotivated after these 10 years, and I think we really seize the opportunity of the 10 years to remotivate partners and internal partners as well. Thank you.